Hello, this is Scott Cook with Ghost Trades, and for tonight's market update, we're going to talk a little bit about what happened last week in the market and what to expect this coming week. Tonight is Sunday evening, February 26th, and let's go ahead by checking out the futures. We are looking at Thinkorswim right now, and it looks like the E-mini, and if we do ES, it'll pull up the chart. Basically, it is up slightly. And they say that if the futures are up, generally the next day in the market, if there's any kind of a pullback, you buy the dips. So we're going to see how this holds up. Let's talk about what happened in the market last week. The Dow is actually down for the year. So what I want to do is take a look at the Dow in just a second. But one of the problems with the Dow is they have Home Depot, which had very negative earnings and was down. Unfortunately, Home Depot is weighted very heavily in the Dow. Now, because of the old-fashioned weighting system with particular stocks, the professionals, they generally like to deal with the S&P 500 or the SPX. We're looking at a 3-year weekly chart, and you can see if we zoom in that, yes, since the beginning of the year, basically we have hit a low, and we've actually closed at the low so far for the year. So on Wednesday, NVDA had an earnings announcement, and you can see it was really good for the company, went up big. This is a 500 billion market cap stock. So naturally, this is going to have a huge impact on the market. Even though NVIDIA had a good earnings announcement, the market, again, we were just talking about the Dow being down at its lowest point, down for the year so far. So even this tech giant couldn't pull the market up with it. On the 21st, Home Depot had their earnings announcement, and you can see that that flag pattern that we were talking about earlier, you got the pole, you got the flag formation, well, it broke to the downside. And since this has such a heavy weighting in the Dow, this could have been one of the factors that brought the Dow down with it. Now, this week, Lowe's is actually coming out with an earnings announcement. It's going to be very interesting to see how it performs after Home Depot. Right now, we're in the Ghost Trades platform, and we're going to look at some of the companies coming out with earnings next week. So let's start with Monday. And right now, you can find this by going to Find, and then you select Calendar. I've gone down to Monday's date, tomorrow, and I clicked on this little red EPS right where my cursor is. Here's some of the companies coming out with earnings. I'm particularly interested in OXY. Big oil stock. Warren Buffett's been accumulating them. There's a lot that they've got going on, but it looks like, according to this, if you hover your cursor over, you see a little pop-up, and the earnings is going to be after the market closes tomorrow. That's what this verified A says. So we're going to jump back in and take a quick look at the chart. With earnings, it's always a 50-50. That's the way I try to look at it. We don't know for sure which way it's going to go, but this could have a pretty good impact on the energy sector. It's sitting right at a level that should be support. If the earnings aren't good and it breaks support, not a good sign. So let's just zoom out and look at the 3-year weekly chart. There could be a lot more downside. We break this area in here, the 55 level. It could be coming back down a lot further. We might see it retest 50, even potentially lower. I'd mentioned that Lowe's is coming out with their earnings announcement, and you can see right here that in 3 days, so on Wednesday, March 1st, before the market opens, that's when their earnings announcement is going to come out. So that will be an interesting one to watch, especially after we saw what Home Depot did last week. Maybe some of those expectations are already built into the stock, because the stock's going to move in unison with Home Depot, and it did a lot of that. But let's watch and see what happens on Wednesday. Going back into the calendar, the earnings calendar, let's just see for Tuesday what to expect. Now, on Tuesday, Norwegian Cruise Lines, they've got their earnings announcement. target. Now looking at Wednesday, you can see that there's our good friend Lowe's right here. Looks like they're coming out with the earnings before the market opens. I'm just going to go ahead and click on that ticker symbol again. And right here, again, it gives you the date, tells you how many days from now, and BMO before the market opens. Let's see if there's anything that we need to watch out for. Okay, Kroger, Costco. And then on Friday, it doesn't look like there's any significant earnings announcements. So this week will be a pretty busy week as far as earnings. So we're going to keep an eye out for that also. Now, one thing that you always want to be aware of, what's happening in the broad market. Interest rates, major financial news announcements. And what I like to do here is go into what's called the Forex Factory Calendar. So I'm going to type that into my browser up at the top. And you can see this website really predominantly deals with foreign currencies. You click on the calendar tab up at the top. Even though it's foreign currencies, what impacts the dollar is going to have a strong influence on the US stock market as well. So if you look at this impact right here, this tells you how much to expect out of this announcement. If it's, this is supposed to be a flame, it's not a folder. If it's yellow, well, you've got, just kind of a light impact expected. Orange, like this one, medium impact. And then if you see a red like this is something that should have a higher impact on the market itself. Now, this red flame for tomorrow, this is actually going to be affecting the yen. So we're more concerned with what happens, the announcements that affect the US dollar. Let's take a look at some of these early morning announcements. You got the core durable goods, pending home sales. So there should be some medium impact on the market with those announcements. If you don't know what one of these are, so let's just go ahead and let's pick on durable goods orders. Go out to the right, and then this is supposed to be a folder. You click on it, and really what we're looking for, I think has the most importance here, is why traders care. What I'm interested in mostly is something that's going to have a high impact on the market. You can see that Tuesday morning, consumer confidence numbers are going to come out. So look for that to move the market one way or another. Wednesday, you go down the list and they've got the ISM manufacturing PMI. So again, you can click on that if you're not sure what that is, why traders care. It's a leading indicator of economic health. Going further down the list, on Friday, you do have one other announcement. So this week's going to be kind of a busy week with some of the earnings that we have and some of these economic announcements. You got the ISM services, PMI, and that. Again, you can click on that. And there's always these stories here. So you can click on some of these articles and it'll bring up a news article and give you a little bit of a rundown, a breakdown on what that is and what you can expect out of it. So you talk to people and they give you a feel for whether they're bullish or bearish. Well, there's actually surveys that they've done. You can see the website right here if you want to go to the very same thing and check this out. But right now, you've got more people kind of feeling a little bit overall bearish on the market. You can see that as of the 22nd, the last time this data came in, the majority were neutral. About almost 40% of those surveyed were neutral. 22% roughly were bullish, and close to 39% were bearish. Now I'd like to finish by showing you a chart of the QQQ. I like to say that the Qs lead the way. Usually what the Qs do, the rest of the market tends to follow. So taking a look at this chart, what we've seen is you might have a potential double bottom down here. Guess you could say triple bottom if you want to count that, and that. Now, if that's the case, that bodes well for the market, right? We broke through some resistance right there, which was good. Now, that broken resistance could very well become new support, and we're there right now. So one last trick that I'd like to show you, I like to do on the chart to just kind of give you an idea of where we might be headed. Um, Go ahead and let's put some Fibonacci numbers up there. Now, I feel like I'm pretty confident with my analysis, looking for support and resistance areas. But if you're not sure, go ahead and use the Fibonacci retracement tool. So we're going to go down here and we're going to select the percentage. We're going to map out this move from the low to the high. And on a retrace, let's see where we might get a 38% or possibly even a 50% retracement. Now, a 50% retracement puts us a little bit below 290 on the Qs. The Qs closed at 291.85. So we could get some more pullback, and it's not going to be the end of the world. That would just be a 50% retracement on this nice move that we got. So this week, keep your eyes open for the stocks coming out with earnings. Let's see how the market reacts to that. Let's see how the market reacts to some of the economic announcements coming out. So stay safe, protect those profits, and I'll see you next time.